24 for our first song, and the song is going to be When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. It's a hymn, so what we do with this strum pattern is we're going to play the straight down strum pattern, which is this 4 down strums per measure. And you'll see the measures are written a little bit differently than what we're used to seeing for the chord drills. So what we're doing here is we have music notation to look at, but we're basically, that's what you sing. And so when you hear the audio CD, and anytime you listen to songs on the radio, you won't have to read the music. You can just sing what you hear on the radio, or you can sing what you hear when you listen to a song. So you always have the option of that, and so we don't have to read those notes to play it. We just listen to what the song sounds like, and we change it to the key that we're in, and then we can play the song. So if we're playing in the key of D, we'll just start the song on the first note, and it's going to be when I survey, like that. When I survey, like that. So we'll play actually 4 beats for the first measure for D, and you can see whenever the D is over the note, that's where we start. When we sing that note, we're playing that chord. So we'll be playing 2 measures of D. It's 4/4 time. You see at the top left there. So that means there's 4 beats per measure. And anytime there's that bar in the middle that goes straight down in the measure, that means the measure is over and we start a new measure. So I can count that with you and sing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing partially and count partially, so you can get the idea and make sure not lose your place. And you can see there's 4 measures on the first line because there's 4 bars. And then you'll go to measure 5, and there's a little 5 at the top left of that second line. So you can see if I say we're on measure 5 or measure 6, you can look to the left if you get lost and figure out what measure is there at the first of that line. And then you'll see at the very end of the song on measure 16, there's a double bar at the end of the song, and that just basically means that's the end of the song. We've got 4 verses in this song. I'm going to play the first verse, and I'm going to let you just listen to the audio and play through the 4th verses with the audio CD. But I will play the first verse, and whenever we play that as a repeat, when we get to D, and I say, all my pride, that's the very last line of the song on verse 1, we would just finish those 4 beats and start over at the very top. So you just go back to the top and start over and play the second verse. And again, you can listen to the audio CD, and that will help you understand exactly how that change works, okay? So without any more ado, I guess, without further ado, we have also a reminder. I need to tell you that there's the chords at the bottom. So if you need to look at the chord diagram a little bit, you can see D, G, E minor, and A, and those are all the chords in the song at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we will play D first, and we'll play 2 measures. It's important that you watch your page on these songs because the chords will change, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss them. It's not as straightforward as the strum patterns where there's usually like 4 measures per chord, okay? So let's do that, D, and we'll play 2 measures of D, then we'll play a G for 1 measure, and we'll play D 1 more measure after that, and then we'll go to the next line. Whenever you see a chord on the first line and there's no new chord on the next measure on the next line, we play the chord that we did before. So it's the same chord, D, on measure 5 as it was on measure 4, okay? So let's start with the very beginning, and I'm going to count in, and I'm going to play the chord first so I can hear what my first note is. So I'm going to sing a little bit, and I'm going to count you also, so you can have an idea where we are. So it's going to be 1, 2, ready, play. When I survey, the second measure, da, here's G, third measure, wondrous, back to D, cross, 2, 3, 4, now we're on the second line. So we did it. We got it through the first line. Let's do that one more time so we're getting familiar with the idea of how to read the music and read the strum patterns. Again, we're just doing 4 down strums per measure, and then when you see a new measure with a chord at the top, you add that chord. You play the chord instead of the one you were playing before, okay? So 4/4 time, I'll count it off again, and then we'll play through the first line and then all the way through the song, hopefully. So let's try that. 1, 2, ready, play. When I survey the G major, wondrous, back to D, cross, next line, measure 5, on which the G major, Prince of, back to D, glory, and A, died, 3, 4, next measure to D on measure 9, my riches, next measure, gain, I, and G, count, but, back to D, loss, we're on line 4 now, measure 13, still playing D, and poor contempt, E minor, on, back to A, all, 2, 3, 4, and D. And we just let that D ring 4 beats, or we can just play the last line. So let's play that E minor, A to D, and we'll finish out D as if we're going to transition back into the second measure, and you'll see how that chord changes once. Okay, so E minor, 1, 2, we're on measure 14, E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, tempt on A, oh my pride, 2, 3, 4, and then we start over. When, or forbid on the second verse, forbid it, Lord, that verse, okay? So that's how we'll do it, and you would just go through the same way we did the first time. You would just sing the different words, listen to the audio, and you'll be able to hear how that works also. Okay, so let's go to the goals for week 4, which is page 25. We're going to play E and full G chords clearly with no muted strings or buzzing. So those are the chords we learned this week, and G is going to be a challenge because we have to stretch up pretty far. So remember, don't keep your thumb up high, keep your thumb on the middle of the back of the guitar, your wrist broken, and your fingers perpendicular to the strings. Okay, and we have E, similarly, where we're going to move it look like this. And I like E, it's a very full chord, and we're going to play E and G lots of times in just about any song we play. Those are very common chords and very common keys to play in. Okay, and then goal number 2 is to practice the chord drills 1 through 4 with the 3-step strum pattern. Work to make smooth transitions between the chords while practicing the drills. Obviously, that's important. We want to be able to transition from one chord to the next. And be sure to slow the tempo if you're having trouble switching those chords. Then goal number 3 is to practice the song When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. This is our first song. Play it at a comfortable tempo at first and increase the song speed when the chord transitions become easier. And again, if you listen to the audio CD, it's going to be up to speed, like how fast it is usually when you're playing it in a song. And we don't have to do that yet. This is just the icing on the cake, this song is, and we want to be able to get to play that, but right now we want to spend more time on the chord drills and transitioning from chords, and you can work on the song slowly, but don't be concerned about playing it up to par with the audio CD yet, okay? We just want to be learning the chords, getting familiar, memorizing those, and then the transitions, working on those, and getting better at the speed. But right now we're still developing calluses because we're on week 4, and you're probably pretty sore this week. So just keep working at it. We will hopefully start to see some improvement. If you've been doing your 5 days a week for 15 minutes, you'll see some improvement here as we get to week 6 probably. You'll start to feel a little bit better. And then it won't get quite comfortable just yet, but it'll get there. Hopefully by week 8 we'll be trucking along and feeling like we've accomplished a few things. So again, the song is icing on the cake. If you're having trouble transitioning between chords, spend more time right there isolating the chords that you have trouble with and switch between those. D to G, if it's D to G, practice that just with your left hand while you're sitting there watching TV or commercials are going on or whatever it might be that you're doing, that you can watch or listen and still do your hand on the guitar. Okay, so work on that, and we'll see you next week.